Hello and welcome to another edition of Issues with Jide. Here we'll talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Sheta. Today on the show, Peter Obi, Deji Adeyanju in dirty battle. In the course of the program, we take your questions, but first, subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and the ones based on the subject matter. I have joining me via Zoom the master himself, Babaji De Kolade Otutoju. Good to see you, PKO.
Good evening, Brian. Good evening, our viewers.
Now let's start with some context. Peter Obi's lawyers issued Deji Adeyanju a 7-day ultimatum to retract what they call false and damaging claims. So I'm not asking for viewers just catching up. What exactly do you think triggered this feud, and why has this so escalated into threats of a courtroom showdown?
Okay. For as far as the lawyers are concerned, for some time now, the Jide Adeyanju has been making reckless statements about Peter Obi. He's been accusing him of all kinds of failings. He's called him a fraud. He said all kinds of things, and they just felt that look. Um, the time had come to put Deji in his place. The time had come to let Deji realize that such negative comments, such um, slanderous statements he's been making about Peter Obi will no longer be tolerated. But if you ask me, Deji believes that since Peter Obi's supporters have been attacking him, calling him all kinds of names, calling him baby lawyer, Temu lawyer. He just felt that their um, their principal or their hero was fair game. It's similar to what is happening with Reno. Reno has come under consistent attack from Peter Obi's supporters. And you will see that Reno does not spare any opportunity to attack Peter Obi, to present him as somebody who is inadequate for the position of president that he craves. And Adeyanju has called him a fraud, a scum, a religious bigot, and leader of the mob. He calls him leader of the mob because of the way the his supporters fiercely back him, virtually on all issues. And he has also called him um, a fraud. He accused him of stealing Anambra state money to invest the money in a business that he has stakes in a company that he has stakes in. But this is not the first time that Peter Obi will be accused of that. Kaderi Ahmed, a journalist, former editor of Next newspaper, asked him a question related to that when they were preparing for the 2019 election. And Peter Obi said at that time that I was no longer involved in the company. Yes, once you become a governor, for example, you have to step aside from the activities of a company, even if you own the company. But many people will argue that when you invest the funds of a state in a company that you have stakes in, then they can actually accuse you of being involved in a conflict of interest and all that. And there's no other way, there's no way to explain that away. The truth is, the company that I invested the funds in is a company that his family has stakes in. And for me, SAB Miller slash AB InBev was International Brewery's parent company. So it's difficult for Peter Obi to say that he didn't invest the funds of the states in a company that his family has stakes in. Yes, you step aside once you become governor, but people um, argue that he made that investment with the desire in mind to help the company, to enable the company make some money. So it's a very messy affair, and uh, when you listen to to Adeyanju, he's unrestrained. He can be uncouth in his language, but you can understand that in the matter of Peter Obi supporters have riled him, they've called him names. He just believes that the best thing to do is to continue to attack their hero. That is as a way of provoking the obedience and avenging the constant insults that the obedience pour on him. But remember that call that Peter Obi reportedly made to the general overseer of Living Faith Church. He threatened to go to court. He threatened to go to court over that matter. That was Bishop Oyedepo. He threatened to go to court. But all of the apps that are used to determine whether something is deep fake or not turned in a verdict that Peter Obi was the one speaking in that audio clip, and that call was made by him. It was not fake. And that was the reason, despite his threats to sue the online newspaper that leaked that audio, up to now, Peter Obi has not summoned the courage to go to court. And as long as it doesn't go to court, people will continue to believe that he actually made that call because he has not really defended himself sufficiently. In fact, he's been silent about that because he also knew that he could be found out, he could be exposed if he proceeded to court because all of the verifiable, the tools for verifying whether such a call was fake or not showed clearly that it was Peter Obi that made that
That's
call.
right.
And so Adeyanju continues to call him a religious bigot on account of that. Obi's supporters find this, see this as very, very unsavory, uncalled for. They believe that it's not a religious bigot. But by calling the general overseer of one of the biggest churches in Nigeria and pleading with him to help talk to Christians to vote for him can be interpreted in different ways. I'm not saying that
And he said it's a religious
that
war.
yes, he went as far as saying that it's a religious war. So Adeyanju could argue from now till kingdom come that even that statement alone suggested that it was a religious bigot, somebody who would not mind if we had to embark on a religious war just to win an election. And then, of course, remember the matter of the Pandora's box. You know, one thing is clear from there, and from there, Peter Obi infringed on the laws of our country by not declaring his assets, including those owned by his children. So if you have offshore accounts, if you have business concerns outside of our country, you have to declare your assets to show that clearly. So, but even at that, I don't think it's right for anyone to call Peter Obi a fraud. Because when you look at him, you compare him to other Nigerian politicians, I think that he tries his best to be above board. But nobody is perfect. And if only God is perfect, and if you try to show that you are perfect, Nigerians will actually dig up some facts to show that they are not perfect. If
That's right.
I was asked to suggest to Peter Obi and his team, I will tell them to forget about this court case because given the whimsical nature of justice delivery in our country, nobody knows when exactly this case will come to an end. And I can tell you that Peter Obi will be the bigger loser in this battle against Adeyanju. Adeyanju really has nothing to lose, but Peter Obi has a lot to lose. He wants to contest the presidency. He sees himself as better than others in the race, and this is coming. This is coming at such a critical time when the opposition is trying to find his feet. So I don't think that Peter Obi should have thought about going to court. They should simply have ignored this fellow. And that was the same advice that I gave um, Ison Wike when Ison Wike was attacking, responding to attacks by the Jide. I said, look, you have to act your age. Why should you get involved in a verbal war with someone like the Jade? You should just, it's much younger. You should have left him alone. It's not every war that is desirable. For some wars, at the end of the day, you get your fingers burnt. You can win the battle, and you can win the battle and not win the war. So, what is the point?
That's
Nigerian
right.
big men, big politicians in our country will always come under scrutiny, and some of it can be lousy, some of it can be unkind, some of it can be wicked. I've seen a lot of stuff that people write about Ashwa Jola and Tinubu. How many people can he sue? You know, how many people will he sue, even if he has the resources?
That's right.
If at
That's right.
every time someone abuses you, you feel like going to court to teach that person a lesson, you are distracting yourself because you won't be focused on your primary goal. So I think Peter Obi should have let this slide.
Borrow the leaf from there.
Yes, because he's going to be embarrassed at the end of the day. It's going to be
Right.
embarrassed.
Um, right. Let me take some comment very quickly because of your time. This whole drama smells like a set. I mean, let me take some comments rather. Yeah, Chinwe Okonkwo says this whole drama smells like a setup to tarnish Peter Obi's name before 2027. The story keeps changing. First, no meeting, now a bribe. Samamadi's account sounds more believable. Obi should sue and clear his name. Abdul Musa says Deji Adeyanju has been fighting corrupt leaders for years, so why doubt him now? If he says Obi offered a bribe, I believe him. Obi saying image is just a mask. Nobody's that clean in Nigeria's politics. Fumi Adebayo says, I'm disappointed in both men. Obi shouldn't be suing critics. It makes him look weak and Deji's loud accusations without proof feel like clout chasing. They are both dragging Nigeria's politics backward. Emeka also says Peter Obi has a solid record, no corruption scandals as governor. Deji's claims Deji's claims sound like envy or someone's paying him to attack. And then Aisha Bello, let me quickly take this and ask my question. Uh, Deji's right to call out the obedience movement toxicity, but he needs to bring receipts for this bribe story, or it's just noise. If Obi's lawsuit shuts him up, maybe he'll think twice next time. All right, so BK, if you look at Deji Adeyanju, considering his legal background as a lawyer and his vow to defend his claims in court, including providing evidence of the meeting, how do you think his stance reinforces the idea that holding figures like Peter Obi accountable is essential for cleaning up Nigerian politics, regardless of backlash from supporters?
No, I think a lot of people are focusing on the bribe issue. He claimed that Obi tried to buy his loyalty. A lot of people are focusing on that, but it's much more than that. I think that if Adeyanju if Adeyanju is taken to court to defend himself, he's going to say, "Oh, I called him a fraud because he took Anambra State's money to invest in the personal, in the
BK, you're muted, please. Could you unmute? Hello, BK, can you unmute? BK, can you hear me? You're muted. Can you unmute? Yeah,
strategy because
yeah.
it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult to prove that indeed he was offered a bribe. If he didn't take the bribe, does he have a video recording to show that indeed he was offered a bribe? There are some things that you cannot prove, that you cannot bring um, evidence upon. But I know that he's going to be arguing that Obi does not have integrity. He's going to call to question his character. He's going to argue that he's not a person of unimpeachable character, and he's going to cite some of the things that we have talked about earlier. For example, his violation of Nigeria's tax and asset declaration laws by not declaring his assets stashed abroad, including those of his children. So the strategy will be clear. He cannot prove that indeed he was indeed offered money. He cannot prove that. He's not going to be able to bring evidence of that or a witness to that, but he can point at other things just to argue that, look, this person who is saying he has been libeled, he has been slandered, does not have integrity. So the matter of integrity and impeccable character would then dominate proceedings in the court. This is what happens most of the time in libel cases. As an editor of a tabloid and then editor of a news magazine, I was in the dock a number of times, sometimes traveling all the way to Akwa Ibom to defend um, our company in libel cases. And there was no one that I recall being involved in that we lost. And the lawyer's strategy is usually clear. The lawyer will stick to the matter of integrity to continue to argue that this person does not have integrity. That would be the strategy. Because if he does not focus on that, he may not be able to defend other issues. that the people are complaining about. So at the end of the day, my own feeling is that this is an unnecessary case. We shouldn't have, we shouldn't go to court. They should just ignore this young man and focus more on his political career, focus more
Yeah,
in how he can sell his ideas to the Nigerian people. It is the Nigerian people that matter. And once Nigerian people have made up their minds about you, they usually will stick with you. They will not, they know that nobody is perfect. They will not focus on your failings. Obi has tremendous support amongst our people, especially the young people, the masses. So he should be more focused on those people. He should be focused on those people and not distract himself with taking someone like Deji Adeyanju to court because it's really unnecessary. He has more to lose than to win.
that's right. Aisha Bilo says Deji is right to call out the obedience movement of okay, I think I've taken that. And Tunde Ogunleye says this fight is a distraction from Nigeria's real problems, hunger, insecurity, and bad governance. Obi and Deji are just playing ego games. Ngozi Eze says Deji's history of flipping sides makes me question his motives. He praised Obi in 2022. Now he's calling him a fraud. Sounds like someone settling scores or eyeing a payout. Obi's lawsuit is justified. Final take here. Ibrahim Danjuma says Obi's Yes Daddy audio already showed he's not above dirty politics. That his bribe claim fits that pattern. If Obi is so clean, why not ignore the noise instead of rushing to court? Guilty conscience. Okay, BKO, because of our time, we need to quickly let you go. That's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you, Baba Jide Kolade Tutoji, for those insightful analyses as always, and we wish you a safe journey in your travels.
Thank you, Ibrahim. By the grace of God, we'll do this again next week. And I say a big thank you to our viewers who continue to stick with us through thick and thin. We'll continue to give our best in your service.
Mm. Yeah, thank you to our audience for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel at TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim_Shita. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.